Hey y'all, it's Tammy with Collard Valley Cooks. Good to see ya. Today I am going to concoct something new and I'm putting it in the oven so that it's easy to make because I'm still really tired from being in the hospital. I've got the oven on 350 degrees and I'm making whole chicken breasts bone in, okay? Today I'm using a 3-inch deep iron skillet, and that way it'll hold and put these chicken breasts down in some liquid and let them cook. And I may even cover them and then uncover them at the end. And I'm coming out of my head with this because I've looked at recipe after recipe today and I just wasn't happy with any recipe. So I'm making my own recipe, which is what I used to do all the time. I'm going to pull y'all in a little closer so y'all can watch, and we're going to make this simple and quick today. Okay, so you can see I got this deep skillet. I've got my chicken here. This is all going to, I'm going to show you every step because it's not going to be a long recipe. We're going to spray the skillet really good with some cooking spray. This is olive oil spray. And I am going to open a can of cream of mushroom. And like I said, this is an easy recipe for me because I don't feel good. I'm doing shortcuts as well. So I'm going to take these mushrooms right here. I got a can of portobello chopped mushrooms. And you don't have to use portobello mushrooms. Now, if for some crazy reason you don't like mushrooms, then you can always substitute it with something else. Let's say artichoke hearts. I think that would be good. I was actually thinking about doing some artichoke hearts today. But I decided to do this instead because everything I've got the cream of mushroom. I was out of cream of chicken soup. So that's one reason I decided to go with mushrooms. I'm actually going to use a few pimentos in it today. I'm going to use some Lipton onion soup, some bone broth, chicken bone broth. Now, if you don't have the bone broth, of course, you can use some stock if you've got some. And that's it. It's going to be simple dimple. All right. So let's move this out of the way. We're going to open up our jar with my little handy dandy jar opener. You've already seen me use my arthritis friendly. Did you hear that pop? I was talking. I shouldn't have been. My arthritis friendly can opener. We're going to use a few of these in it just for color. And I like the way they taste. If you don't like them, of course, don't use them. Use some red green pepper if you want something red to make it pretty. And you don't want the taste of the pimentos. You can always do that. Now, I'm going to use my hook, and I'm going to grab these chicken breasts right out of the bag. Let me pull this a little closer, y'all. Y'all can see. Good. And these are big, okay? So there's one. Good Lord. This one's really big. There's two. This one's a lot fatter than that one, so it's going to get done a lot quicker. So I think I am going to use a knife and just kind of slice it a little bit just on this one. Because if you'll notice, this one doesn't have near the meat on it. Well, it's pretty big, but it's flatter, and this one's fatter, okay? So we're just going to flatten it out a little bit. I'm going to try not to dirty up a lot of stuff. I've already cleaned up my kitchen. It's so funny because Chris does a really good job of taking care of me when I'm sick. But and he is an amazing husband. But there's nothing like getting in the kitchen yourself and cleaning with bleach, if you know what I mean. So I've done that this morning. That wore me out too. And washed a few clothes. Took my shower. All those things that have to be done. Let's flip this over and let that skin be on the top, or the bone be on the top. I think I'm going to do the same thing with the other one, and that way your meat is against the hot part of the skillet, okay? This is a thin piece. It doesn't matter if it goes over the top. Now, I don't have to touch it no more, and I didn't touch it at all. What about that? I love my little hook. All right, let's mix up something to pour over the top of it. right quick. Now, I don't know how much I'm going to use until I get it in here. This is not a recipe. This is how I like to cook. I don't like to cook. I'm not a real big recipe fan. I used to never cook with recipes, not food. Always baking, yes, but never what I cooked for supper. Don't I just look lovely today? At least I'm clean, right? For the most part, I used every night a meat, and I made at least 2 vegetables, sometimes 3. And that's what we ate. And a lot of y'all been really concerned about me and my health. So we'll talk about that at the end of this. So don't go away, because I want to talk to you a little bit about my health at the end, because I've had some people send me personal messages. And I just want to get a couple of things clear. So that's our cream of mushroom. And it's salty, okay? And this is a Lipton onion soup mix. So if you like onion soup, you'll like this, right? And that's something I've never made for y'all. I guess I could make it. It's just something I'm not as big of a fan of as most of y'all. For onion soup, mushrooms going in. Now the mushrooms are optional, okay? Let's get some of these pimentos in here. Make it pretty. A big heaping tablespoon at least. And some of the juice would be nice as well. This is a jar, so it shouldn't taste like a can. Now, if I don't put any chicken stock in it, it would burn, I think, in that skillet as long as I want to cook it. So we're going to put some juice in it. And that way it can cook for a long period of time. And then maybe by the time we do eat it, it'll be more concentrated like a gravy that we can serve over the top of the chicken. Chris can make a couple of sides to go with it tonight. Maybe some broccoli, something simple, you know. And I guess I better measure this for y'all in case y'all want to make this. In case it's delicious. I don't know if it's going to be or not, but we're going to see. I like bone broth. It's a little more expensive, but to me it's worth it. Saves you the time from having to boil a chicken when you don't feel good like me. It's a lot better than, not broth, it's bone broth or stock is what I'm trying to say, instead of just regular stock. It's got a lot more flavor. That was a cup, and I think that's going to be more than enough for what we're going to want to do. That's plenty runny for what we're trying to accomplish today. And we didn't get too much stuff dirty. I can put most of this in the dishwasher. That looks really pretty, and it should taste good. Now, you can always taste it. I'll taste it for y'all. Oh my gosh, it's delicious. It's very salty though. But you'll have to realize that you're just going to eat it like gravy over the top. It's not like it's a soup, although it would taste pretty doggone good if it were a soup. You're going to pour that over your chicken. See, I chose the right dish. If you don't have a deep skillet, then use a deep, round baking dish. Hopefully you got one of those. And we're just going to use some foil and cover the top of it. We're going to cover it just like that. So the first hour, we'll keep it covered while it cooks, okay? And while it cooks, I'm going to talk to you a minute about my health, because a lot of y'all have been watching for a while and you already know and you've heard it a million times, and then some of you haven't. So I'm going to bring it up just because I keep getting messages about it. The first 20 minutes or 30 minutes, really, it's in there. It's just now getting hot. So you want it to have time to cook the chicken. It's looking good. We're going to cook it 30 more minutes with the lid off. You got it going? All righty. It's real pretty, y'all. And I've got the sides to go with it. So while this cooked another 30 minutes, I made my sides. So that was handy. And look, y'all, it didn't get real thick. So a lot of that broth didn't cook off there like I thought it would. So we could probably even use a half cup of stock. But I mean, what's the point in opening stock if you're only going to use a half cup, right? So we'll see how it looks on the plate. Oh, it's pretty. It's pretty, pretty. All righty. Let's crisp a piece. And of course, this is big. We won't eat it all, but. And he wanted red potatoes tonight. So if you used cream potatoes, you could, you know, serve it with the gravy. But Chris wanted to use the other potatoes, and we won't eat all of this, but I'm plating it just because I can. We'll have enough for lunch, won't we, Chris? Tomorrow. Plenty for lunch tomorrow. Broccoli. And this is just steamed broccoli. Lord. I made a lot. And new potatoes, or red potatoes, whatever y'all call them. And they're just boiled with a little butter, salt, and pepper. That's how Chris likes them, ain't it, baby? And this is going to have so much chicken in it, I could probably take some of the chicken off and use, use it to make another dish even. There's so much chicken. So I just came up with this, and it looks good. It looks really good. Very good. Which one do you think I should save?
Piece, 'cause that was upside down.
Cut this piece?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let them see the chicken part then. Okay. Get us a bite. This is a chicken breast bone-in is what I used to make this dish today. I got 2 forks. I'm really digging in. Good. And it's not too salty because the chicken had no salt on it at all, okay, when I added this to the top of it. So it's really, really good. It's got a very good flavor. Would you like to taste it, Chris, since it's something new?
Now, what are you going to call this? Okay. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know I like mushrooms, so that's
Really good.
it's really good.
It's real earthy tasting.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty. The pimentos made it really pretty.
Very good.
So, we'll come up with a name, but it was an easy dish to do when you're not feeling good. So, all right. So, I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about my health. Some of y'all have been watching me for a long time and you've heard the story, and some of it you haven't. So, I just want to talk to you about my cancer, the type of cancer I had, and whether or not it was hereditary, whether or not it was environmental. There are different things that cause cancer, and there are different kinds of cancer. A lot of y'all have assumed that the reason I had cancer is because of the way I eat. And I want to clear that up with you. When I got cancer, I was 40 years old. I weighed 140 pounds. I was 5 feet 5 inches tall and was in tip-top shape. Now, I did not work out, but I did go to work every day down in the city in Marietta for an architectural firm. I had 2 little kids. I stayed really busy. Me and Chris were semi looking after my mom at the time, and I was just a really busy girl. And that was during the recession, and it was a tough time at my workplace. There was a lot of people being laid off of my work that had been working there 25 and 30 years. It was a very sad time, a very hard time. Some of y'all don't know this, but my mother, and I try not to talk too much about my personal life on here, but she was having a hard time with prescription medicines. And one of the hardest things I ever had to do was put her in we as a family felt like that it was time to admit her somewhere to where she stayed overnight for a period of time. Now, this was about 2008. And so emotionally, I was really going through it, okay, with my mother. That was the hardest thing I ever had to do with my mother. Out of all the things I had to do, that was the hardest. I was very close to my mama, and I love her very much. And I want you to understand that whenever somebody has a problem, and all of us do, all of us have something in our life that we might think we control, and we might think we're on top of it, but a lot of us don't admit the fact that sometimes we're not. And I don't think we should judge each other, and I don't think we should sweep it under the rug and hide it either, because when we do that, our family members and the people that we love that are going through these things are not helped, okay? They're just shunned, and they feel ashamed. And to me, it's better to bring stuff out and talk about it, to make people aware that if they're going through the same thing, it's okay, and that it's okay to talk about it, all right? You know, I don't know why, but people seem to be very, very judgmental about people's health, about people's addictions, about people's affairs, no matter what it is, gambling habits, no matter what you have. They seem to be very opinionated and very judgmental, and they shouldn't be. All right. I am one that wants you to know that no matter who you are, I love you. And if you've been through your life without anything ever happening to you or somebody in your family, that's wonderful. But there's not one family out there that hasn't been touched by something. So anyway, I was going through a lot, and I had little kids. And so I was watching the people get laid off at work, and they wouldn't lay me off until I finished the projects I was on. And so once I got laid off, 6 months, it was about 6 months, I had the house cleaned up, I had it organized. I mean, I was on top of it. And I ate good. I mean, we ate good. I mean, I cooked most of everything we ate back then. And I got cancer. And when they tested it, it was called triple negative ductal carcinoma. Okay, it was growing at a very high growth rate. By the time they found it, and that's a whole nother story in itself, because I knew it was there and I kept telling them it was there, and the machines didn't see it. And it was because it had simple cysts growing around it, and they couldn't see it until they used an ultrasound machine. By the time they did see it, I had 2 areas in my right breast, and I had 12 lymph nodes that were positive. And it was called triple negative. So they did the hormone testing, and I'm negative. So I don't carry any genetic genes for any cancers that I would pass on to my children. And I asked the lady that was doing the testing, so is there something I did? Is there something I ate? Is there something about my anything? She said, no. She said, with your cancer, I just have to say it's not environmental. Some are environmental. She said, like, for instance, your grandmother had bladder cancer, which is directly caused from secondhand cigarette smoke or smoke. And my granddaddy smoked cigarettes. Now, isn't it strange how one grandparent could get the cancer that's caused from secondhand smoke, but the grandparent that smoked the cigarettes didn't get the lung cancer? It's just the way it works, y'all. It's our bodies. So hers was an environmental cancer. And when you say something's environmental, that means something in the environment caused it, whether you ate it or whether it was part of the environment around you. Yes, there are cancers like that. And yes, it does matter how you treat your body and the things that are around you. But the food, I just don't know. Well, I mean, I know they've linked some stuff, but I'm not going to get into it too much with y'all. And the main reason is this: life is short. Okay. They also said my granddaddy, who had kidney cancer, it could have been linked to his well water. Now, most of y'all would think drinking out of a well would be the best thing in the world. We actually have well water where I live here. So believe it or not, that can cause it. I mean, there's all different kinds that can help you get cancer. But this is the thing. Unless you've got the kind of body that, for some strange reason, I mean, if those environmental factors cause cancer, everybody would get cancer. But that's not how it works. Your body has to have a cell that decides, hey, I'm going to multiply, and I'm going to continue to multiply. And here I go. And they grow and they grow and they grow and they grow and they grow. Every single one of us has cancer cells in our body. Every single one of us. So the way I look at it is this: you don't know if you're going to get cancer one day. You have no idea, okay? These environmental factors, sure, they can cause you to have a higher risk, okay? But let me just give you this as an example. Risk-wise, I was at a terribly low risk for breast cancer. I was skinny. I had the money to go to the doctor. I mean, all of the things. I breastfed my babies. I was young. I mean, if you named all of the risk factors for getting breast cancer, you couldn't check a box for any box for me when I got breast cancer. But I got it, okay? It taught me a lot. I went through a lot. I still have things that I go through because of it, just like my arm. My inflammation in my body is actually doing really good. You can tell even in this arm that I just got out of the hospital with, you're already starting to be able to tell that you can see the bone again at the end of my elbow, which is really nice. You can actually see the shape of it some, which is really nice. So the inflammation is going down, and I haven't done anything to make it go down except take the antibiotic. Anyway, this is long, so just forward wind it if you didn't want to hear it. I'm sure you already have. But I just want you to know, if you have cancer, don't let these naysayers get you down and make you think it's all your fault. Because children get cancer, babies get cancer, teenagers get cancer, 40-year-olds get cancer, 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds, 70-year-olds, 80-year-olds. It's all up to our own bodies and whether or not we have a cell that goes crazy. It can happen to you tomorrow, but it may not happen at all. I don't know what that was, but it may not happen at all. So quit worrying so much. Do you know what I think caused my cancer more than anything? Worrying, being under stress. That was the most stressful time in my entire life. Through work and the people I loved at work, and through mama, and just, it was a rough year. If all you do is worry and worry and worry, you're more likely to get cancer. And most of the people that I know that have gotten cancer are kind of a high-strung personality. Now, not all of them have been. Of course they're not. But a lot of them are. So if I could give you a tip on health, it would be laugh a little, enjoy your life a little, quit judging people, be happy with who you are, be happy with who the people that are around you are, that you love. Love them no matter what. Love them no matter their personality type, their political status. Love them and love the people around you and live like you have no tomorrow. Because worry, in my opinion, will do way more to your body and your immune system than the foods that we're eating. That's my opinion. Okay? So that's my advice to you as a cancer survivor. And by the way, I shouldn't even be here. Statistically, I should have died within 3 years. I'm serious. Statistically, as advanced as my cancer was, the rate that it was growing, and the type of cancer that it was, I had 3 years. Max 4, they said max 5 with the kind of cancer I had. And that's why we waited 4 years to do reconstruction. And God's got me here. And if I learned anything from it, I'm going to tell you the number one thing I thought of when I thought I was going to die was, where are those around me? Are those around me, those that I love, do they know Jesus? Are they going to have an everlasting life? Will they see me again when I'm in heaven? That was my number one thought, not what is my bucket list and what do I want to do and blah, 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 blah. Now, I did want to teach my kids how to cook, and that's what created the show. Years later, after I got through my emotional, I'm not going to lie, cancer's tough, and it's hard on your mind and body, and it's hard emotionally, and it takes you years to get back to where you feel like you might live, okay? And once I got there, then I got ready to think about, are the kids going to know how to cook? But so those are my number one things to you, to tell you today. And I love you all. But the most important thing for me is to tell you to quit worrying and quit telling people what to do and quit telling people what to eat. You know what? I could have died really and truly when I was 29. I had calcifications in my breast when I was 29 years old. That could have turned to cancer. If I had died when I was 30, I would have wished that I had ate everything I absolutely wanted before I died. I mean, everybody's goal in life is not to live 5 years longer because they eat healthier. Yours might be, so do it. But don't tell other people what to do. Mine might be, I would rather die 5 years earlier and get to eat what I want. Now, do I want to be obese? No. Do I want to be morbidly obese? No. Do I mind being heavy? Absolutely not. Do I want to be skinny? No. Etc. Okay? But you know what? There's people that don't mind. So leave them alone. Leave people alone. And let them be who they are. Not everybody goes out and runs a mile every morning. And not everybody worries about every little thing they put in their mouth. If we did, we'd lose our mind. And that'll send you closer to being sick than anything. Now, me and my husband are about to start a devotional, just the two of us together. And I don't know if y'all do this or not, but you may do it by yourself. And I used to do Bible study, and I haven't. And I'm just not at the time in my life. We've just been through a lot the last 2 years. It's been rough. And so I haven't been doing it. But me and Chris are going to start a devotional, which is going to be a lot of fun together. And I'm hoping that we can grow a little closer to the Lord through it. So if you'll pray for us, I'd appreciate it. And this is what he's picked out. He picked out Rick Warren, Daily Hope Devotional, 365 Days of Purpose, Peace, and Promise. And we won't do them every day because we'll do them together. We'll do them several days a week. And that's it. Me and Chris will think of a name by the time we get it on there for y'all tonight. I hope y'all have a wonderful night. And we thank you for watching Collard Valley Cooks, where we cook easy stuff when we don't feel good. Love ya.